Yo, hi, Nick. Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? Good, man. You? Thanks. I'll make you a co-host. I'll invite you to co-host.
Yeah, sounds good. Is it
Yeah.
i- is it Alec or is it Alec? How do you pronounce your
Aleph or Aleph. It's long. It's Alejandro, but a friend of mine gave me that nickname long ago, and I loved it. And ever since, I stick with that with Aleph. So
yeah,
yeah.
beautiful.
Hi, Ram, and we got a fifth listener in Thought 2. We're just getting started, setting up shop itself. Boris, do you?
Hey
Can
guys, can you hear me? Does that work?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Great.
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey, Boris.
Hey Nick. Yeah, thanks so much really for joining. So I remembered, I think you popped up in our Twitter feed like, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, a couple of weeks ago. And we thought, okay, you actually have cool content and the algorithm kind of brought us together, it seems. Right? So this is a really interesting uh, cause of events here. And yeah, we thought actually, why not just host a space? So I noticed you have hosted some space just by yourself. You also created like this video, I think like 2 or 3 days ago, which is really nice, which touched on a similar topic. And I mean, usually we tend to ramble on and we're a little bit unstructured in the past. And now we try to be a little bit more targeted and specific in terms of the target net. Yeah, for today's space, we were thinking of why not talk about mindful business, right? Because you see so much manipulation and grifting and all these things on social media. And we actually, our very first Twitter space, it's just what were the two of us here, the very first Twitter space was about grifting on Twitter, and you see so much manipulation and so on. So we were thinking, yeah, that's a great place to start from, and yeah, happy to have you here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a pleasure to connect with you, and I'm so glad that we get to host the space together. I've been following your pages for some time, and yeah, thank you, Algo, for bringing us together. And yeah, I'm really excited to dive in and see where it takes us. I think yeah, like we have the structure, and of course we'll try to kind of follow kind of well, I guess the intention that we have with this space, right? But I'm also very open to sort of drifting where we need to explore wherever the conversation is taking us. So yeah, I mean the topic of the mindful business, I guess, just to give some context for me, it's I mean, I come from very much a business and a finance background. I used to work at Bloomberg in London for 5 years, and I used to do sales for them. I used to do business development. So I've kind of seen the corporate side of sales, or kind of how this works, and being there and sort of learning the tricks and the trades, kind of made me really realize and confront how much of manipulation there can be, and how often that doesn't really sit well with me. Like, to give you an example, I went through some trainings um, where they basically try to explain, like, okay, how do you actually convince someone to buy the product? And it was all about asking them a lot of whys and getting to the depth of their whys, but also like getting to the personal whys of like, why are they even doing this job? Like, why? Like, what do they care? And then in the way that you talk about the product, you're always kind of trying to bring it how it can help them to get to that why. And that's a really interesting one, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot of it is about psychology, but it's sort of, I don't know, it still gives me this kind of icky feeling. It's like, wait, I'm like getting to know a person, and then I'm basically using their depth to get money out of them, and like, which is not even for me, it was like for the company. And um and, and it's like, how gross, or how disgusting, like, that's my personal perspective. And instead I decided to experiment, and because I was managing relationships with big banks at the time, asset managers, investment funds, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to be really honest in my conversations. If I think the product is shit, I'm going to tell them it's shit. If I think they might benefit from it, I'll tell them they might benefit from it. If like I'll tell them I have to be talking to them because the company is trying to pivot, I'll mention it to them. And so I started doing that, and the amazing thing happened is I noticed that actually with those relationships, it was going even better because there was trust, because they knew they could come to me and they knew that they would get the truth. And that's all they need. They don't need another amazing sales pitch with, this shiny surface. Like, no, they want someone they can rely on. And so I really believe that, if we're honest and if we actually genuinely care and try to add value and build relationships, that's what it's all about. So yeah, I guess I'll just pause here and leave space for any comments or wherever you want to go from here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very.
that's
Oh, please continue, please.
yeah, that's a lovely take. I mean, you can go ahead too. I can especially relate with that part about connecting with people, and then that's pretty much natural. And even selling to people afterward, it's something we do organically. It's not evil at all. Like, let's say you and me are talking about a problem. Let's make it so mundane as possible. You need help with your plumbing in your house, and I'm just asking what your problem is. And if I happen to be a plumber, or I happen to know a plumber, that's good. I would recommend it to you. And that's pretty much it, right? That's selling. But I don't feel icky or anything because I am not manipulating you. And this has been also a topic for us. We have kind of a cynical view or kind of a perversion regarding selling because, well, we grew up with the internet and we grew up like getting exposed to the Tai Lopez's, and I hope I don't get sued by mentioning him in that sentence and all that stuff that just exploit it. And so you end up having this image of the salesperson as this greasy snakes oil salesman that is trying to stab you in the back at the first opportunity, but it is really not like that. I mean, some guys are very charismatic, and when you have an intuition, you know that that's even more dangerous because they can sell you anything. But usually it's not useful to just put them all under the category of everyone's trying to rip me off. Yeah, the industry is kind of trying to sell you something all the time, but there are still legit guys that want to help you. And I love that part where you said you would literally tell the people that your product is bad for them or shitty for them in that case. And that kind of honesty in selling, that's what actually makes me trust someone more. I mean, yeah, they are trying to sell me something if it's a win-win scenario. And in that case, if you have that understanding, it's not so wild, really. But once I notice these little subtle hints of manipulation, then it's over for me, right? I'm not going to be able to trust this person anymore. And I think people are smarter than we give them credit for. Yeah, of course, many of them fell prey to all these cookie cutter tactics and things. But always some question that we ask ourselves is that really the kind of people you want to sell to? Like, do you want to use the same strategy that everyone's using on Twitter with DMs and giveaways just to manipulate these people as everyone else is doing? And if they don't catch that, if they really are not aware of what you're doing, is that the kind of audience you want to have? Because, I mean, everyone else is going to catch them anyways. Like, they probably move from promise to promise. And what are you actually achieving with that, right? And those are these questions that for me are more important. It's just not what's effective, it's what is true, what is resonates, what's actually congruent with what you're trying to be.